The Bitcoin Spot ETF is already here, and its approval could revolutionize the future of the crypto market. We're just 4 days away from the deadline, where we'll inevitably learn the final verdict to the following question. Will the United States approve its first Bitcoin Spot ETF? What repercussions will its approval or rejection have on the crypto market? Who are the involved parties, and what hidden interests do they have? And perhaps the question that arouses the most interest. How can we benefit from such an event? First, let's consider that a Bitcoin Spot ETF expands and deepens liquidity in the market. And why does it do that? It's because it's actually creating institutional products that can be traded by institutions without needing to touch the underlying assets. And this opens up the universe of pensions insurers, among others. These are the words of Matthew McDermott, Goldman Sachs Digital Assets Director. The Goldman Sachs executive added, "I think we'll see them gradually and throughout the year. Even if approved more or less in the first quarter, it's an expansion and deepening of liquidity for those seeking to trade the product. It's, as we all know, the best performing asset class this year." Ultimately, what Goldman Sachs is saying is an absolute truth. Those institutional investors who truly have the highest transaction volume would soon have accessibility to a market they didn't want to touch until then. Because for many institutions, from a legislative and risk perspective, they had no interest in direct cryptocurrency investment. Instead, using an intermediary approved and regulated by the United States for institutions changes the game significantly. It seems JP Morgan doesn't want to miss out on a piece of the pie. BlackRock, the giant in international capital management, named JP Morgan as an authorized participant for its Bitcoin Spot ETF. It mentioned this in a new change in its application. Following this modification, the administrator certifies that JP Morgan Securities and Jane Street Capital will be among the financial firms authorized to start working with shares of its Bitcoin ETF. We're witnessing how giants of the industry, specifically from the financial sector, from the investment branch, are making their strong bet on creating their synthetic product, replicating Bitcoin Spot. This event, in the long term, will favor the evolution and growth of crypto. Approval requests for Bitcoin Spot exchange-traded funds introduced by financial giants like BlackRock, Bitwise, and Hashdex seem to boost Bitcoin's marketing department. It brings not only capital, but also a powerful advertising machinery. When we talk about Bitcoin's marketing department, it's a way of speaking. Companies' advertising approach to Bitcoin has become evident for several weeks now. This is evident with videos flooding social media, aiming to capture investors' attention. The first company to make a massive promotional move for its ETF was Bitwise Investments, using actor Jonathan Goldsmith, known for campaigns for a well-known beer brand in the United States. On the other hand, Hashdex, a Brazilian capital company managing exchange-traded funds, also had a similar initiative to promote its Bitcoin Spot ETF. In their audio-visual piece, they aim to evoke an old time and how computers were discussed many years ago, emphasizing their complexity for that time. Later in the video, they move on to the following message: "Understanding disruptive innovation takes time. Bitcoin's time has arrived." This advertising push could have consequences for Bitcoin's widespread adoption. As digital currency becomes more visible in the conventional financial landscape, the interest and involvement of investors at all levels are likely to increase. It's clear that those driving the ETF are investing heavily in advertising because they are keenly interested in having significant transactional interest in their ETF. Therefore, Bitcoin has just gained an ally called big institutions who, driven by their desire for indirect enrichment, want to push Bitcoin upwards. This is obviously discussed from a long-term perspective. And now, tell me, what do you think about it? Share your opinion in the comments. Also, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell for future updates. But remember, the Bitcoin Spot ETF is not approved as of today. That's why Bloomberg's ETF analyst Eric Balchunas says that, though unlikely, there's still a slight chance the SEC may reject Bitcoin Spot ETF applications. Even though the odds are slim, this month's rejection of a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund could stem from the Securities and Exchange Commission's desire for more time rather than an outright refusal. The analyst's colleague, James Seifert, stated in a tweet, "We haven't gone beyond 9-time probability. I don't think we'll see an outright denial." Essentially, both James and Eric suggest they expect the approval of the Bitcoin Spot ETF before January 10, with a 90 likelihood. Regarding the other 10, where they foresee the ETF's rejection, they don't anticipate an outright refusal. Now, if you ask for party poopers, here's what we'll tell you. Data from Greeks. Live showed that the implied volatility for options expiring on January 12, closely linked to the ETF, decreased instead of increasing. Moreover, the trading volume of these options was significantly low, representing only 2 of the total daily volume. Based on this data, Greeks. Live stated that the market has already factored in the potential approval of the Bitcoin spot. In simpler terms, market participants might have anticipated the event and adjusted their positions accordingly, suggesting that the actual approval may have a limited impact on prices and volatility. Translating it into layman's terms, according to the options data and focusing on the options expiring on January 12, which could have the most correlation with the approval or denial of the Bitcoin spot ETF, it suggests that the rumor has already been bought and the news may not bring much volatility. This is translatable perhaps as buy the rumor, sell the news. Well, frankly, it makes some sense. And now, I'll share our latest in-depth technical analysis, where we specifically analyze the expected behavior of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies regarding the approval or denial of the Bitcoin spot ETF. And I'm leaving this video for you right now in the top right corner in the YouTube cards, as well as in the description and pinned comment of this video. Amidst a blend of anticipation and skepticism about the Bitcoin spot ETF, Peter Schiff mentioned that Bitcoin spot ETFs could have a catastrophic impact on Bitcoin's price. Schiff noted that the promise of a Bitcoin spot ETF listed in the United States has supported Bitcoin's price and speculative demand for years. This could imply that the approval of an ETF might crash Bitcoin's price if the anticipated institutional demand doesn't materialize. It's important here that we lay our cards on the table and properly analyze Peter Schiff's words. Specifically, he's not talking about what's going to happen on day one of the potential approval of the Bitcoin spot ETF. He's actually asking us to imagine what would happen if the Bitcoin spot ETF were approved, considering the persistent speculation over the years about the possibility of creating such an ETF has probably unconsciously, passively helped Bitcoin's growth. So, he's asking, if prices have grown during this supposed speculation period, what would happen if the ETF were approved and then institutions rejected the product and didn't invest? Now, think about the message being sent to the world. You're probably already imagining the response. If the major financial muscle, those big institutions, ultimately decide not to invest a penny in the Bitcoin ETF, then who will bear the financial weight? Although we'd love to have a romantic answer and say, don't worry, the public will. Look, we just need to see how traditional financial markets work to understand that the public doesn't bear anything. And remember, this isn't stating what will happen. It's just putting forward a scenario, one among others, proposed by Peter Schiff, and we've reflected on it. And now we're going to share with you our opinion on what will happen with the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in case the Bitcoin spot ETF gets approved or rejected. But before that, welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity. Even though for many it's almost a given that the United States Securities and Exchange Commission will approve the first Bitcoin spot ETF. In the next few days, Matrixport analyst Marcus Thielen believes that the agency will end up rejecting all the applications on its desk. Thielen's reading came from a report published by Matrixport and covered by various media outlets. The analyst points out that despite all the excitement, the applications in the SEC's office still do not meet a critical requirement: the legitimacy of cryptocurrencies in the United States, which is fundamental for the success of this product in the local market. SEC Chair Gensler is not embracing cryptocurrencies in the United States and may even be highly unlikely to vote to approve Bitcoin spot ETFs. This could happen in the second quarter of 2024, but we expect the SEC to reject all applications in January. These words are really negative and alarming from this analyst. It's worth mentioning that this report is completely contradictory if we just go back a few days to January 1, where the firm showed a completely different perspective. They indicated a possible approval of a Bitcoin spot ETF that could be announced today or tomorrow, ahead of most traders' expectations for approval on January 8, 9, or 10. If this happens, we expect Bitcoin prices to increase significantly. It's unlikely that this will be a sell the news event because the approval would legitimize Bitcoin as an asset class for institutional portfolios that could be used as collateral to buy other assets. Now, I'm sure we're all asking ourselves what these people are up to. to. One day telling us that the ETF approval is a done deal, and then 3 days later saying it's unlikely to be approved. Look, what Matrix Sport is doing, or supposedly doing, is injecting FOMO and FUD into the market, hypothetically based on demand. You know how markets work. News comes out, and the price reacts. Now, the ETF matter is on everyone's lips, where a tiny aggressive piece of news, as we saw the other day, can move markets in a crazy way. And you know who makes money in these markets when we see such aggressive movements. Clearly, it's those who have information beforehand. In other words, to headline it, insider information. But let's get to the important part. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is holding meetings today, January 3, with the exchange to discuss the Bitcoin spot ETF. Among them are the exchanges, NASDAQ of Chicago, for short CBOE, and New York. It was specified that the meetings are to finalize comments on the Form 19B4 filed by the Bitcoin spot ETF issuers. As you can see, the regulatory bodies are working and moving forward. Not only them, but also the internationally based US bank. The well-known Goldman Sachs apparently is in talks with BlackRock and Grayscale to become an authorized participant in their respective Bitcoin spot ETFs. The Wall Street Bank is set to join other reputable institutions in the financial sector to act as an authorized participant for this type of product. Let's keep in mind that this position empowers the entity in creating and exchanging ETF shares to facilitate asset trading. While, for now, Goldman Sachs has neither confirmed nor denied these reports, sources indicate that the discussions are quite advanced. They specifically point out that such negotiations are ongoing with BlackRock and Grayscale, two of the applicants that have shown the most positive signs regarding the progress of their applications before the Securities and Exchange Commission. The addition of Goldman Sachs would further enhance their product, ensuring liquidity and operability above others in the market. It seems things are getting really hot because in a recent announcement, Eric Balchuna, a senior ETF analyst at Bloomberg, has indicated that we are closer than ever to the official approval of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds on the United States. The Bloomberg analyst said, "The SEC is giving final comments as we speak. Then the issuers will file the final 19.4 and so on shortly after. So I want to say this is definitely the closest we've been. But as far as I know, no official approval. Entities like Fidelity, BlackRock, and Grayscale are among the applicants that progressed this week in their applications by submitting Form 8 to the SEC, one of the final steps in the ETF application process, although it's still not clear which one will be the first approved. Recent activity suggests it could be close. So close that the SEC could start notifying the approval of ETFs, as reported by Fox business journalist Eleanor Terrett. According to Terrett, if this happens, the ETFs will start trading next week. On the other hand, James Seifert clarified that although he doesn't rule out this possibility, he does not expect official orders of approval for the Bitcoin spot ETF today. His projection is that it might be possible to do so. And now tell me, what do you think? Will the SEC finally approve the Bitcoin spot ETF before January 10th, or will it reject it instead? Leave me your opinion in the comments. Also, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon so that YouTube notifies you of future posts. And if you want to check out our video, click the subscription button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss any video. And if you want to know our opinion on how this event will affect whether they approve or reject the Bitcoin spot ETF, I invite you to go watch our latest advanced technical analysis that I'm showing on the screen right now. So don't hesitate for a moment and click on the video now without thinking twice. Move your finger and click now, and you'll be the most informed person in the world about it. Watch the video now.